How did you find your cousin in Crown Heights?
Yeah, I was a newcomer from France, 1955, and I was living in the dorm of Lubavitch Yeshiva, Tomchet Minim, and I was only a few months when I decided to go to see how the Lubavitch Rebbe was making the Seder on Pesach. As I came out, since the boys had moved to another place to sleep, but the Kerastira Rebbe, there was a mikveh on Eastern Parkway, on Brooklyn and Eastern Parkway, and I didn't know exactly where it was. And as I walked on Eastern Parkway, I heard a couple speaking in Yiddish, and in that time I didn't know any English since I came from France. I knew French, Yiddish, and Ivrit, but I didn't know any English. So since I heard that couple speaking in Yiddish, I approached them and I asked them how to get to that place where the Lubavitch temporarily were sleeping there. So they told me it's not far, it's around the corner. But I was standing, I didn't know what meant even around the corner. So his wife said to her husband, "Zasnisher is a greener." It means a greenhorn, it just came from the other side. So go take a walk with him. She said in Yiddish, "Geh mit him." So as he walked with me, he asked me like one Jew to another, "Where are you coming from?" I said, "From France." He said, "Where is your family from original?" I said, "From Poland." And he asked me many questions. He said, "How long was your mother from Poland to France?" So I told them, and he asked me what's her name. I said her maiden name was Erner. And he continued, he was asking me lots of questions. And it was a short walk, so we came to the place. And there was another yeshiva boy, Erne Wittin, I believe. He asked me, "This a korev of yours, a relative of yours?" I said, "No, I don't." So the next day, we were davening in 770, and this man happened to live across 770, 749 Eastern Parkway. So he asked me more questions about my mom. So I said she was from Volbrom, and her grandmother. He asked me about my grandmother, grandfather, and from my mother's side, the name was Rosmarin, and his name was Rosmarin also. So he said, I remember you. Your mom is a first cousin of mine. You have to write her a letter that you found a cousin in the street. And I couldn't believe this. And he said he went through the Holocaust. He had a number on his arm from Auschwitz. And he and his wife survived the Holocaust. They were in two separate different camps. They had 8 children together. 4 got shot and 4 survived. So the 4 were living in Brooklyn also, in Crown Heights in those days. And he told me, since I was a young yeshiva boy, 16 years old, he said, every Shabbos come to me to have Shabbos with me. He was a religious man also. And so I was so happy to find a large family that my mother remembered even. He said, "I remember your mom when she was a child in Poland. I remember even your grandmother." And it was hard to believe among 6 million Jews. I felt right away in the beginning, being in this country, a first cousin of my mom. And so we were and 5 years later, me and him, we helped to make my mother come because my father passed away in between. 2 years after I was in the United States. And it was very nice to know that I had a large family that survived the Holocaust. And we were in hiding in France, but we didn't go through what they went through, because they were in the camps, and his wife was with typhus in the camp. But a Rebbe gave her a brocha, and she believed in that brocha from that Rebbe, and she said, "This gives me the koyach to survive this and this hell." Because every day they saw the smoke coming from the ovens, from the crematorium, and she said the people who gave up, they were finished, but she never gave up, and she survived. And thank God, her husband survived, and 4 children. 4 children got killed, and 4 survived. And so it's nice to know that now they have grandchildren living in Silver Spring. One is a doctor, one is an engineer, I believe, and Rosemary, and they live in Silver Spring. And so that's a wonderful story.